Alright, so this is another video. The previous video I showed the letter O, right? This one I'm going to show the letter P, and then this one I have my constraints set up, and I have the animation controllers. It's chain system set up for the animation controllers with the proper parenting. Okay, this one is basically about creating your groups, and also about after you create your groups and organizing it, applying a parent constraint and scale constraint so that your global controller right now is not being put to use, basically to allow the global controller to manipulate your entire rig. But in order for your global controller to manipulate your entire rig, right, it needs to be self-contained into a group. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. It's the same thing in the letter R and the video tutorial series. So what I'm gonna do is with nothing selected, I'm gonna press Control G as in George, Control G. That creates a new group. I'm going to double click on this new group. I'm going to name it Empty Group Organizer. I'm going to dump my root joint. I select my root joint from the outliner, middle mouse click on it, middle mouse click and hold it, drag and drop it into here. Make sure you see a plus sign next to the cursor. Let go. Now it's in here. I'm going to drag and drop my COG controller set, right? As you can see, all of this. Select it, hover over it, middle mouse click on it, and middle mouse click and hold it, drag and drop it into the empty group organizer. There you go. And then from there, I'm just going to select my global controller. As you can see here, there's no data in here. And then from my outliner, again I repeat, from my outliner, I'm going to press and hold the control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on the empty group organizer. Right. So again, selection order is you select your global controller first, then you select your empty group organizer. You should see here empty group organizer. I'm going to go to constrain. I'm going to tear it off, click on it. I'm going to parent constraint. All of it is blue. If you don't see all of it blue, make sure that for the parent constraint option box, everything's reset. Then I'm going to do a, while these are still selected, scale constraint. You can look at the option box, just make sure everything is default. Hit apply. Now that's applied. What just happened, again, same thing from what I said, the letter R rigging and the other letters, I, N, G, I as in I, the letter I and the letter G and the letter U and the letter O. I talked about most of the rigging. Letter O still has some couple things I did not talk about. Anyway, so what just happened? Well, now I have my global controller, right? It is now commandeering the empty group organizer, and when I select the empty group organizer, it has constraints for the translate, rotate, and scale. So even though it's a group, you can do things to it. like constraints. Inside of the group, I have the root joint, animation controllers, and this is the constraints. Empty group organizer, path constraint, empty group organizer, scale constraint. And now the global controller can move it around. The global controller can rotate it, right? But if I were to try to scale my global controller, look what happens. See what's happening? You see how the shape of the mesh is getting super soft and fluffy, right? Whereas if I were to undo it, see, you can see the profile of the bevel is very different, more firm. The reason why when you scale it, it gets all whack and out of place, out of whack, is because usually this will work. But since we have the special little properties of the delta mush, when you scale the global controller, the delta mush, it does something where it messes with the scaling properties. And in the next video, I talk about how to resolve that using the connection editor, right? But in the meantime, we are not done just yet. Okay. I deselect anything and everything. I'm going to just press Ctrl G, make another group. I'm going to name it P for the letter P, main group. I'm going to grab my empty group organizer, click on it, left click on it, middle mouse, hover over it, and then middle mouse click and hold. Middle mouse drag and drop into my main group, P main group. Let go. Okay, now I'm going to grab the mesh. I select the mesh. I'm going to hover over it, middle mouse click on it, middle mouse click and hold, middle mouse drag and drop into the P main group. I'm going to grab the P global control. I'm going to click it, left mouse click it, middle mouse click and hold, middle mouse drag and drop into the P main group. Now it is a self-contained system. Oh shit. Now it is a self-contained system. And I have everything important in here. Empty group organizer, which is constrained and commandeered and manipulated by the global controller, which is outside of the empty group. I have my mesh as well. My P main group, I'm going to lock it out. I select all of it, the P main group, right click on it, lock selection. I do not want this to be moved around or accidentally keyframed. So that's pretty much that. And then there's other things like certain areas or certain things where, for example, certain controllers, I don't want it to be able to pull and move. Like, say, this one's okay, this one's okay. Like this one, yeah, I kind of don't want this to pull. The reason why it's pulling on that, right? I mean, I'm okay with it rotating. But that's about it. So basically, things that I don't want to move a certain way. This is assuming if you've done parent constraints, right? Again, I'm going kind of off topic. Should I even talk about that? I mean, this is mainly about the groups, right? Making them groups. So I'm gonna just leave it like that for now. Leave it at a 9-minute or a 10-minute video, speaking purely about making groups, which will lead into the connection editor. But you do want to check for locking out certain things, which I talk about in the letter R and the other letter rigging tutorials, specifically the letter I, specifically the letter G, and also the letter U. Yeah, the same steps I did. Anyway, I'm going to leave it like this. Again, the topic was about making your groups, your empty group, making your main group, and applying the constraints so that your global controller will be able to manipulate your empty group organizer. That is what this video topic was about. Alright, bye.